Hello and welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr. We are hidden beneath a slight canopy of a singular tree alongside Qa'Rajh and Abnathan. And they are basically here to just provide a distraction in case the dragon there decides to get a little too friendly. So, we are here to investigate the Shadow Dance ruins, which, according to the quest marker, is behind that door. And Qa'Rajh, the now elected Queen of Northern Elsweyr, is supposedly inside. We are here because we are trying to stop the body of Qa'Rajh the Betrayer. You might remember that Qa'Rajh was a spirit from Cold Harbor that was actually friendly, but as it turns out through the story of the Elsweyr segment, it turns out that Qa'Rajh was in his real life state before death and before being sent to Cold Harbor, known as Qa'Rajh the Betrayer, and we were told that he betrayed the ancestors of Qa'Rajh's bloodline, essentially the royal heirs to the throne of Elsweyr, for the sake of immense power. And apparently Qa'Rajh was one of the reasons that the dragons got the power that they now have. So the story was that he would likely go to the Shadow Dance ruins to reobtain that power, or to actually finish that quest that he started so long ago. Let's see what's inside.
If there is more to this ancient temple, I do not see a way to access it.
Well, we will find a way. This brazier clearly has something to do with it. That wall doesn't look too solid. Okay, no loot. Or is there? Nope, that's just a lizard. Not sure what it would be doing down here. There doesn't seem to be anything of note, other than perhaps cooling from the heat. Alright, well, let's...
This is the right place. I can sense it. But nothing in this chamber looks like it can make the moons move, or open a path to Joan or Jode. What are we missing, Fiveclaw?
Qa'Rajh said your pendant was the key.
And Riddlethar knows I have tried everything I can think of. I held it out, I presented it forcefully, I even shook it vigorously, but nothing happened. I do not know what else to do.
You said your mother would sometimes hold it and tell you stories. Maybe she said so. Maybe something she said?
My memories and the Kunzari stories, everything jumbles together. Too much research has crowded my mind. Wait, maybe... I remember one thing Mother used to say. Maybe if I repeat her words while I hold the pendant.
It couldn't hurt to try.
When a Nequina's blood calls, the Shadow Dance begins.
By the moons, you opened the path.
You go ahead. Zamorak and I will deal with the dragon outside. Somehow.
Moons watch over you. Come, Fiveclaw. Let us see where this leads.
Okay. Had the Moon Priest become too dogmatic, too severe in their strictures of purity, or were the secrets in the Shadow Dance that needed to be buried? For whatever reason, the two moons hierarchy had no... bugger!
How beautiful!
Ooh.
Why was this hidden for so long?
She's acting as our follower now. And knowing her, she can actually handle herself. Let's see what we're dealing with. So obviously we got the main temple. That's obvious. That's a given. I was going to say that I don't see any enemies, but then I see skeletons strewn across, well, the 3 skeletons there strewn across this bridge. This could be an excellent spot for a sky shot. It's big enough. But, I think I will do my loot sense a favor by heading downward first. This is probably a dead end. Is there something in the water? I wouldn't put it past this game to do that. So we can't dive, unlike in other Elder Scrolls games, but we can swim, at least surface level, and unless there are any very dangerous piranha fish down here, we should be good to go. No danger or harm should come to us. A lit brazier, but well, magic is existing, so we can't really guarantee that someone has been down here. Given the secrecy of this portal and this place, I think it's safe to say that no one has. So we seek out Catwell in this. I know this is a waste of time, but I am given a chance to explore, and so I am going to do. Oh, it was a flying frog? I'm not really sure. It was kind of hidden by the undergrowth. Okay, well, this was a red herring, as I more or less expected, but yeah, that's a toad with wings. Blue Oasis dragon frog. Huh. I am reminded of when we were chasing frogs back in Grathwood. Not the strangest thing that we've been through in this game so far, but definitely one of the more noteworthy ones. Okay, well, through the central path we shall go. No options was presented on the left, so... Okay.
This place has guardians, it seems, but they could not stop the betrayer.
Oh, we got someone. Moon Sentinel Suncaster. That's sounds like someone with a bit of identity crisis going on there. But well, oh, you can see me, eh? Really, a cudgel. Get zapped. Oh, and they provide a little bit of clout for the Fighters Guild. There doesn't seem to be a reason to explore up here. Okay.
The betrayer sent. He came this way.
I mean, we could just look for the piles of... Ooh, anonymous torn journal. Okay, so we'll be doing some reading here. Very well. I do enjoy a good book.
That relic. See what you can make of it, Five Claw.
Okay. Let's see. Oh.
The spirits awaken. The temple recognized me. I am becoming attuned.
Should I be concerned? Probably. Well, okay, so the book didn't have any inclination to the central. Alright, let's read it. Okay, it just starts in a weird way. Strange piece of the floor here, one that I can't seem to puzzle out. I cannot but think there is something more to this shrine than this simple chamber. I wish I had the gold to hire someone from the Mages Guild, but that ship has sailed. Thanks, Arvin. Making camp for now. These cats love their moons. Maybe something will show up overnight. Day 18. Nothing overnight, but I found a scorpion in my boot when I woke up. Never pass up a free meal. Jula was right. The poison rendered out if you stick it in a cook fire for a moment. We're scouting the cliffs near the ruin when I found it. Wind was coming through a crack in the cliff face. Managed to widen it enough to get through. It was a long climb down. Looks like the patience paid off. I'm in. Day 19. Strange place. Temple? Not sure. Floor stained. Old blood. I'm sure of it. Thought I found some old death cult site. Well, it's starting to look like signs of trouble. Good news is, seems like it was a long time ago. Getting stranger. Found bones, unsurprisingly, but there are other bodies too. Their flesh was like wood, skin like lacquer, sitting and standing in meditation poses. Must be some funeral rite. Spooky though. Day 20. Barely any sleep last night. Everything echoes in here. All sorts of scuffling in the night. Rats probably. The light plays tricks in here. I swear one of those strange bodies just moved. Did it? Did it really? No, I'm sure it must just have been the wind. Okay, so... Right, so you guys are just showing me the way even though that was obvious. That's okay, you can do that. Oh, a recipe that I don't know, and some crafting materials that I'll probably never get around to using. But, well, now I have it. Whoa, I didn't even see you. Oh, what a wonderful convenience. Hello. Woo. Got whacked. Frightener. Nope, not today. Your tactics are quite wasted, but you're also dead. Okay, what else have we got? A shaman and a suncaster. I believe the shaman could be a healer, so we want to get rid of that as soon as possible. Nope. The healer is who we want.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Counts must die along the way. What of it? You're insane. You talk to your new god like that. Manners.
Oh, Chronicles of Juhari, Chapter 1. Assurances is made to the children of the beyond, whom the Rittlethar knew to be coiled in flesh, that in presence of the holy and triumphant soul will the path to dreaming be known. Chapter 1. A young one came to us, and with due reverence asked Juhari of White Sand if he could learn the dance of shadows, for he had heard as many had before of the great dance of Anequin's sharp-tongue, boon companion to Qa'Rajh. With a tongue full of platitude and supplication, he begged Qa'Rajh to share his knowledge, for the young one believed a dance capable of moving the moons must be beautiful to behold. And Qa'Rajh gave the youth the smile he always gave to the young, one of sadness and pity. He asked the youth, how does one instruct a serpent to walk? How does one tell an owl to make fire or an ape to pray? The youth took Qa'Rajh's meaning. He thanked the great sage of White Sand for his words and began his long walk home. Qa'Rajh called to the young one, and though the sage of White Sand spoke only the barest whisper of wind, the wind carried the voice as though it had descended from Jon and Jod themselves. Qa'Rajh offered to share with the youth his knowledge of the dance. The young one was confused. No serpent could be instructed to walk, no owl can make fire. Were these not likened to the teachings of the Dance of Shadows? The sage of White Sand nodded. A serpent will always be a serpent, and an owl will always be an owl. But the soul may become many things, though it may take lifetimes to become them. Many consider such a price too dear to pay, and they will never come to know of the Dance of Shadows. The youth nodded and stood in contemplation, and when Qa'Rajh returned to the dancing shadow temple, the youth followed. Bit of an odd ritual, but... figured. Well, at least the pools and sand circles are nice. Oh, no comment on the dead spirits, Qa'Rajh? Oh well, okay, that's fair enough. Suppose not everything has to have a story. You, however, has to have a death. I'm not sure a cudgel would be my first choice of weapon. It's
Another
frightening.
relic. Activate it for me, Five Claw.
Oh.
Activate it for me, Five Claw.
Are we going to find that whoever activated the relics down the line will be cursed or something like that? Oh.
I understand. Moving the moons causes an eclipse. That opens the way to Jod's core.
It's almost a shame how Anequin's faithful keep throwing themselves at my blade. Almost.
Okay. Whoa. Frightener and a Stormcaster. Well, get rid of the Frightener first. He's the most annoying. The other ones, not so much. Adept and adept. Okay, well, no mages or anything, so... that should be fairly easy to deal with. Relatively speaking, of course. Well, There has been a lack of loot here that I dislike. Even if they are golems or wood people. Yeah, shamans. And an adept. Well, the shaman is the problem, so... Hello, boys! Ooh! Oh. Oop. Wait! Have I missed one? Oh! That's not good. I mean, I know it's more or less randomly scattered around, but I hate missing out on lore. Particularly when I'm recording. Ha! And it has the same start. Okay. Chapter 2. He was a young one, no longer. Years as acolyte to the Sage of White Sand had left a mark upon his corporeal self. A face that knew the vitality of youth was sunken. Fur was matted and coarse without its daily oiling. But the acolyte's eyes showed something of Qa'Rajh's wisdom, though it was muted by the hunger of the acolyte remaining worldliness. The Sage of White Sand offered instruction as the soul of his acolyte formed into its needed shape that could heed the wisdom. Together they would experience moonlight in its distilled form and walk paths that took strange angles, though through places tangential to dreams, but never dreaming. Qa'Rajh took care that his acolytes see only the reflection of the lunar lattice of his eyes, for the Sage of White Sand had known too many that gazed on the glory and horror and went mad. But even the reflection of the lattice in the eyes of the Sage of White Sand was enough for the acolyte. In its myriad contortions and rhythms was found the bastion of existence such that could not be found elsewhere. They returned to the temple, bodies caked in sweat, mouth tasting of lingering sweetness. The acolyte turned to Qa'Rajh, Sage of the White Sand, and asked how the dance of shadow could impact the enormity of the lattice. "Because they are the same size," came Qa'Rajh's reply. "Because they are the same size." Sounds like a... Whoa! Whoa! Oh my... Why? Okay, we'll deal with this quick. I mean, I do get the experience, so that's nice. And a little bit of loot, but... Fell guards? Sure, why not? What? Didn't I? What the heck? Alright. Chances are we'll have to... Or maybe we don't. I mean, they are just standing there.
Final temple relic. There it is. Activate it, please. Activate it, please.
I don't like the tone that her voice has taken.
Now, back home. We need to reach the temple sanctuary.
Okay. Well, as long as it's not a maze and just one long corridor of rooms. Any guardians or treasure? We didn't get the third chapter. God damn it, I almost did it again. Well then. You boys, how about a round 2? Oh. Well, I suppose that makes sense. Right, let's read this. Chapter 3. Qa'Rajh of White Sand smelt his death on the desert wind and told the elders of his acolyte, the once youth who sought to learn the dance of shadows, that his time had come. The elders, who by dutiful teachings of his master and the savagery of time had grown wretched and wise, went to the banks of the Darkhan River to fashion a litter of reeds. The elders bore the sage of White Sand up the steps of the Dancing Moon Temple, and as he did so, the brothers and sisters of our order followed. They burnt moonlight in their censers, fume and chanting wreathed the stone and sand and bodies. When the eldest had borne him to the mountain top, the vault where Anakin Sharptongue had danced the last dance of shadows, the chanting stopped. The smoke of moonlight poured from our censers, and the room was shrouded in silent gloom. Qa'Rajh, who was made lame through his long years of devotion, stood and tottered before the eldest on unsteady paws. He asked if the eldest recalled what brought him to the Dancing Shadow Temple all those years before. And the eldest nodded, for he had studied the sutras and knew that years were as brief as a single flap of a fletcher fly's wing in winter. And returning the eldest nod with his own, Qa'Rajh stood perfectly still. In the soul of the sage of White Sand, the eldest saw movement, chaotic and beautiful. It echoed through the lattice, swelling with reverberation off the fumes of moonlight and the great and the small vertices. As the fuming moonlight burned his lungs, the eldest saw the dance of shadow was no demand nor supplication. It was an existence nearly close to perfection. The lattice mirrored and perfected the form, and in doing so was changed for a time. And as it started, so did the dance of shadows end. Qa'Rajh collapsed, and his soul gone to the sand behind stars. The eldest heeded the lesson well. Alright, I'm not okay with this. You boys quite annoy me. Chimera, if you don't mind, the Cora is not currently a problem. Ooh. Oh! That's quite a decent haul, for once. Alright. We're coming up on time, but I want to finish this, though I only have myself to blame for missing out on the loot and going back on lore.
Let us talk before we confront the betrayer.
Oh. Sure, but lore to Junjo the Empty Fang. Junjo the Empty Fang, your time has come. Your body is weak enough, your soul is strong enough, your mind is clear enough. Now you must climb, Junjo the Empty Fang, as the gods called the forebearers before you, and will call to those that follow. Go to the mountain top, let the wind weave through your fur, let the sun fall on your face. Let the trees be your only succor, their needles, their seeds, their resin. To wander the ethereal, one must reject the corporeal. Your form will diminish, but your mind and soul will grow. Your will thirst for water, drink, and each day drink less. Your fur, what is left of it, you will shed. Your heart, what remains of it, will slow. Your breath will be as the dying wind. And with your body prepared, the heavens will await your ethereal soul to fascinate in its mysteries. And your body will wait for your soul to return it, stewarded by the moons and the majesty of the lattice. Ooh, interesting. All right.
The ancient memories become clearer in my mind with every passing moment. We follow the same path as the heroes of legend. Qa'Rajh, Anequina, the betrayer. They all walked these steps to reach Jode's core.
Tell me everything the attuned memories have shown you.
I see the truth of the myths and legends. Qa'Rajh tricked Qa'Rajh into storing the might of the dragons in Jode's core. Then, the heroes of the Qa'Rajh lured them into the halls of Colossus and sealed the doors.
Right, then the betrayer stabbed Qa'Rajh in the back.
Yes, he murdered Qa'Rajh and then came to this temple to gain the power to move the moons and open the way to Jode's core. You see, the path only appears at the moon gate of Anequina when the moons are aligned, as in an eclipse.
The moon priest stopped the betrayer back then.
True, but many died before they lopped off his head. The betrayer was the greatest warrior of his day. If it comes to a battle, it will not be an easy one. There is an apparatus in the sanctuary, linked to the larger moon gate. That is what we seek.
You deal with the apparatus, I'll take care of the betrayer.
We are about to enter the place where the betrayer faced his greatest failure, where he died at the hands of the remaining heroes and moon priests. We must make sure history repeats itself.
Do you have any advice on fighting the betrayer?
The shade of Anequina darkens with rage whenever I think about him. Even before his betrayal, she detested the man. He was vain, proud, a great sword fighter, but full of ego and hubris. Perhaps that is his weakness, his pride.
Well, I will be sure to be using a pride. This is where it happened, the incident that led to the abolition of the Adepts of the Dancing Shadows. All details of the atrocity were expunged from the Moon Bishop's archives by the decree of the two moons Assizes? I think that was correct, but meh. Kill the betrayer. Well, that sounds simple enough. Almost too... perhaps a bit too simple.
Too late, fools! The eclipse has started.
Might need a bit of help with this one. How about... yeah, fortifying. No, I actually don't.
Do my portals confuse you? Good!
Not really. I mean, it's portals.
Yeah, let me open wide. Oblivion.
Is he wearing Imperial armor? Looks like it. Was he an Imperial? I don't know. Woo. Okay, that was actually the first time that hurt a bit.
Do my portals confuse you?
Oh, you have surprisingly few lines. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, let me open wide. Oblivion.
I mean,
Do my portals confuse
he is easier than Fumog Zoom, but that's only because he isn't using the trick of sending out a horde of minions to fight me.
my portals confuse you? Good!
Okay, that's kind of a shame that that's all he has to say. Or perhaps I was meant to fight him at a much either higher or lower level than what I currently am. Because this is easy.
I can strike from any direction. Do my portals confuse you?
I mean,
Good!
You're literally not doing anything to me. I can heal faster than you can do any damage to me. At least any significant damage, that is. Even if you do knock me out from time to time. I don't even have the high ground. And I don't have a sword. Whoop.
Something is wrong. I cannot stop the eclipse.
Ooh, Eben curious. He turned into a pile of goop.
The betrayer did something to the apparatus. The moons cannot hear my plea.
You can't stop the eclipse?
No. The betrayer has set the moons in motion, and they will not answer to my song. There is nothing to stop the dragons from using the moon gate of Anequina to reach Jode's core.
So Elsweyr is doomed?
Not yet. This apparatus moves the moons, but the moon gate of Anequina creates the portal to Jode's core. Luckily, I sent forces there to defend it from the dragons. We will join them. But first, the memories tell me we have one more task here.
What do we need to do?
Anequina's memories show me how she once used the dragon horn. The combat dragon horn you gave me. It needs to be energized. Have its power restored. Activate the nearby temple relic, and I will charge the dragon horn.
I will activate the temple relic. Okay. I was about to say which... alright. Activation, go!
Zari, Anek, Cadwell, John, and Joe. All of it into the dragon horn.
A dip in cold hard is refreshing, pleasant, and I'm fit as a fig tree. Now, where's the evil me?
Okay, didn't expect that.
Fiend, let me at him. I returned as soon as I could to help you give the betrayer a good threat.
The betrayer has been destroyed. But what about you?
I feel tip-top, I must say. I thought it was the cozy confines of my beloved Cold Harbor. But I suppose it has more to do with the destruction of my other half. Well, good show. The world is saved.
Not exactly. The betrayer said it set the moons in motion. When they align, the dragons can reach the core.
That doesn't sound good. Let me think. If I concentrate, I can recall what was going through my despicable other self's mind. He wanted to make sure no one could stop the path from opening. He promised the dragons.
There must be a way to stop the eclipse.
I'm afraid not, at least not from here. He did something to the apparatus. It can't be used again. Qa'Rajh might be able to separate the moons, but she'd need to do it at the moon gate. She looks a little peaked though, doesn't she?
We need to get it back to Rimmen.
I am all right. Cadwell, can we use your portal to return to Rimmen?
Of course, Qa'Rajh. It's ready.
Oh, I had hoped I could bounce into that. Well, that's it for this episode. I mean, I talked about this in the last one. I liked the fact that I am not going to have to walk back and forth every single time. This is a welcoming change of pace. Anyway, this has been it for this episode. In the next one, and I don't know when that will be, take care.